Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Bella Grace podcast, where we are helping you transform your life, mind, body, and soul. Whether you are struggling to find balance using unhealthy behaviors or substances to cope, or you just want to unlock the root cause of what's holding you back from living your best life, Bella Grace Coaching can help you transform your life, mind, body, and soul. And this week, we are doing that by talking about work-life balance. I am doing the next few episodes by myself. My co-host Rosie is going to take a break. She is busy with life and the new school year, and she has gone back to teaching. So you are just getting me for a little while. So I'm so glad you're here. Today, I want to talk about work-life balance. So what is work-life balance and why is it important? What can you do to help yourself achieve a better work-life balance? And some tips to help you overcome roadblocks that might be keeping you from having a good work-life balance. So let's dive in. So first of all, what is work-life balance? So there are several definitions out there as to what work-life balance is. One of my favorite definitions comes from Sergian Lee. And it is engagement in work and non-work roles, producing an outcome of equal amounts of satisfaction in work and non-work life domains. I love that definition because it really captures the essence of what true work-life balance is. True work-life balance is when we are experiencing joy, happiness, fulfillment, not only at work, but at home as well. It can be really hard to find a good balance between work and life, especially in this day and age. I feel like since COVID happened, a lot of people work from home now. And so the office is home and home is the office. And it can be really hard to switch off from work to home. And it can be really tempting to check your email notifications, and employees can text you, or you can text your boss, or you'll receive an email at 9 o'clock at night from somebody, and it can be really tempting to check it because you have it right there on your phone. So why not, right? For me, I work at a nonprofit. I have a photography business. I have a coaching business, and I'm in grad school. And so I find myself struggling sometimes to set parameters around all of those things. And I work from home for my nonprofit job. So I literally live at my computer. My mom makes fun of me all the time because she'll call and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "At the computer." So on top of this podcast, like, I do several other things, and I am a mom, I'm a wife. So trying to find that work-life balance is important for me because I want to have equal levels of joy, fulfillment, contentment at home and in my work. And seeing as I have 3 jobs, it can be really hard. So I want to share with other people how I balance all of those things that I do, because I get told all the time, "I don't know how you do it. You have all these balls in the air and you somehow get it all done." So I really wanted to be able to impart some wisdom to you, share with you some tips on how I handle it and why it's important to have a healthy work-life balance. So now that we've talked about the definition of work-life balance, there are a couple others that I like. Work-life balance is the tendency to become fully engaged in the performance of every role in one's total role system, to approach each role and each role partner with an attitude of attentiveness and care. And I think that's really important because if we're not getting true work-life balance between the home and the office, it can be easy to be less attentive and less careful, full of care, not careful like you're being careful you don't fall off your bike, but full of care with our family and friends. And you may not be married, you may not have a family. So work-life balance for you means caring for yourself, caring for your friends, having a good, healthy work-life balance is important. And we'll go into that in a second. Another definition is work-life balance is engagement in multiple roles with an approximate equal level of attention, time, involvement, and commitment. And I really like that one too, because it reminds us that we are paying attention to things other than work. We're involved in things that aren't centered around work, and we make and keep commitments to things that aren't related to work. So why is work-life balance important? It's important because people who have a well-diverse life have more access to resources than those who don't have a more diverse life. So what that looks like is if you are, so I'll use myself as an example. I am a runner. I love to run. I'm not good at it. I'm not fast, but I like to do it. I enjoy photography and I do that as a side business. I'm a forever student. I love to learn. And so I'm constantly engaging in things that are going to grow my knowledge. And then I work for the nonprofit. I'm a mom. I'm involved in my daughter's school activities. I'm a wife and I get involved in the things that my husband enjoys doing, video games, cars, racing, that sort of stuff. But having those hobbies expands my resource bank, right? So because I am interested in running, that helps me be interested in healthy eating. That helps me be interested in ways to cool down my body, ways to calm down my body after a run. And those skills help me in my job. I have a very high stress job with my nonprofit job. I do a lot of conflict resolution, and being able to calm emotions down is very helpful. And I've learned that through my running. I've learned how to calm my body down, bring my heart rate down, slow my breathing. That is a resource that I have in my resource bank because I'm a runner. So that's one of the reasons that it's important to have a good, healthy work-life balance, because you are building your resource bank by having multiple interests, multiple activities that you get involved in. Another reason to have healthy work-life balance is because it boosts productivity at work. It can boost, and the other way is true as well. If you feel successful at work and you feel content at work and you feel accomplished at work, it can help you to feel more motivated to achieve those same feelings at home. And there are studies out there that prove that there is a correlation between success at work and success in the home. So, but that's a fine line, because you don't want to get so obsessed with success and accomplishments at work that your home life suffers. And again, if you're single and you're like, I don't have a quote unquote home life, your home life can literally be your self-care, your friendships, those relationships that you care about, your cousins, brothers, sisters, mom, extended family. That is your home life. It is the things that you do outside of work that are not work related. So those are some of the reasons why it's important. Another thing that work-life balance gives you, it gives you role privileges, it gives you status security, it gives you resources for status enhancement, it enhances personality and ego gratification. And so by having a good, healthy work-life balance, you get these things, whether it's from accomplishments like finishing a 5K or hiking up that mountain that you've been wanting to hike and training for, or maybe it's getting an award for some random picture that you took. And of course, I'm using these because these are my examples, but having that satisfaction of accomplishment in your personal life can drive you to seek that accomplishment in your professional life as well. So those are some reasons why work-life balance is important. So next is, how do we achieve work-life balance? And this one can be a little tricky. I sent out a survey on my LinkedIn profile to find out whether or not people think that they have a good, healthy work-life balance. And then I followed it up with, what do you feel like is the biggest hindrance to having a healthy work-life balance? And some of the responses surprised me. Some of them did not. Um, some of the most popular responses as to why people feel they don't have a healthy work-life balance is because they feel like they don't have enough time in the day to get things done at work. And I don't know about you, but I can totally relate to that. And I had for years. I always felt the need to take work home or to come in on the weekends and do work because I didn't feel like there was enough time in the day to get stuff done. So I had to take it home with me so that I could check all the boxes, meet all the deadlines, do all the things. And so I was constantly playing catch up. And it wasn't until someone stopped me and they were like, hey, you need some time management skills. And I was like, I'm great at time management. I multitask, I'm good at it. Like I get things done. And they're like, yeah, but you're working all the time. You need to take some breaks. You need to take a breather. You need to set alarms and block time. And all of these concepts were so foreign to me. But so I want to share some of these with you, break them down, show you how you can implement them and how these things can help you build work-life balance. So I always say we spend more time with our work family than we do with our actual families. There was where is it? Hang on, I'm going to find it. 8 hours to work, 8 hours to play, 8 hours to sleep, 8 bob a day. And so that was a fair day's work anthem or mantra by the stonemasons who walked off their job site at Melbourne University in 1856. So they were trying to get fair wages and fair hours, and they wanted 8 hours to work, 8 hours to play, 8 hours to sleep. And so that is our lives, right? So we work 8 to 5, 9 to 5, whatever, if you work a 12-hour shift, and then you go home and you realistically probably get home somewhere between 5 and 6 o'clock, right? If you live in a crazy area or you have a crazy commute, it might be a little bit later than that. But typically, realistically, we get home somewhere between 5 and 6 o'clock. You eat dinner. So if you cook, then you're looking at eating dinner around 7:15. If you have kiddos, then by that time, like it's time to start showering them, bathing them, getting them ready for bed so that they can be in bed by 8:15. If you're single, that means you've got what, 3 hours of you time to take advantage of before it's time to go to bed, wake up and do it all over again. If you're a good disciplined person and you go to bed at 10 o'clock, I know many of us don't, but this is just a general example. But so you're looking at, once you feed yourself, you're looking at about 3 hours of you time an evening. That's nothing, man. It is hard to decompress, relax, and do much of anything else in that time. So imagine if you then add in the fact that you've got to take work home and you've got to work on work for a few hours. That's cutting into your me time. That's cutting into your home life time. So what if I could tell you, what if I told you that there are ways to avoid taking the work home? And there are. So we recently had the time management, what was her name? Assassin. The time management assassin came to the nonprofit that I work at and did a workshop with us. and she is a time management coach. And she came in and she was talking to us about ways that we can manage our time. And a lot of it was the same tools that I use to help myself achieve a good, healthy work-life balance. And the first thing she said was time blocking. And if you have a office job, if you have a task-oriented job, time blocking can be really, really pivotal to changing your day. I work from home, so I don't have anybody monitoring when, how, where I work. So it can be hard to stay motivated, but I have found that if I time block, I am a lot more successful at staying on track and getting my things done that I need to get done. So what it looks like is I get my Google Calendar and I usually try to do this on like Sunday night or Friday before I log off for the next day. Or if I don't have time, I do it the morning of. But I sit down and I get my Google Calendar and I literally block off times to do certain tasks. So my first hour of the day is always checking emails. Sometimes if I know I've been out of the office or I was away for a while or I was doing trainings and couldn't check my email, I'll set it for 2.5 hours. And I literally go through my emails one by one and I answer them. I do the task associated with that email, whatever it is, I get it done, and then I file that email away. And everything that I receive, I always tell my team, I'm like, if you need me to do something, email it to me because that is my to-do list. My email box is my to-do list. And I will sit and work on an email until it is done, until I've answered all the questions or until I've done all the tasks. And then I file it away. And then I move on to the next email. And I do that until all the emails are gone. And most of the time I can get it done in an hour. If I can't, like I said, I'll block off 2.5 hours, depending on how many emails are in my box. And then I will block off a 15-minute break after that. So once I'm done with the emails, I take a complete break. I either go outside and sit in my backyard with my feet in the grass, or I will walk out to the mailbox and walk back a couple times. Sometimes I will even just get my coffee and go sit on the couch for 15 minutes, and I set a timer because then I know I have exactly 15 minutes. Once the 15 minutes is up, it's time to move on to the next task. But taking those breaks gives your brain the opportunity to reset. And when you are working on something that is tedious, those timed breaks can help your brain stay focused because your brain thinks, okay, I can stay focused for 2 hours because after 2 hours, I'm going to get 15 minutes of free time. And in that 15 minutes, you can do whatever you want. You can scroll social media, you can drink your coffee, you can go for a quick little walk around the building, whatever it is that you want to do for 15 minutes. And then your timer goes off, your calendar invite goes off for the next task, and you move on, do the next task. And maybe the next task is time card approvals or spend an hour writing my book or spend an hour writing a blog post, whatever it is, whatever your day-to-day looks like, blocking it off in specific times. That way your day is planned out. You don't spend time idling on social media. You're less likely to get distracted because your brain knows that a new break is coming up. So for every hour that I work, I take a 5 to 10 minute break to let my mind reset. And I have seen a boost in my productivity. I have less to do at the end of the day. I have less to do after hours because I am staying on task and I'm not getting distracted and I'm not getting brain fatigue. I'm not getting decision fatigue because my brain knows that there is a break coming soon. So my next tip for work-life balance is to take breaks. I already touched on it, but it is so important to actually take breaks because in those little 15-minute breaks, you get to respond to text messages to family who may have texted you during the day. You get to maybe go sit on the couch or go sit in the break room and read for 15 minutes. Maybe your goal is to read a certain number of books this year. Guess what? You can take a 15-minute break twice a day, and that is 30 minutes of reading that you could do. Maybe your goal is to move more this year, to work out a little bit more. When I was working in the office, I used to take my two 15-minute breaks in the morning and the afternoon. And I would go for a walk. I would walk around the building. And I know I've talked about this before, but it's important to have it in here right now. I would go for a quick walk around the building. 15 minutes, you can get a mile in. If you do that twice a day, that's 2 miles a day that you're walking. That's 2 miles, guys, 2 miles a day. And you don't have to do it fast. You can do it slow. If you even just do half a mile twice a day, that's a mile. Walk around the inside of your building because if you're in Texas, I know it is hot. It is hot here right now. But you could just walk around in the building, walk around your house, do laps around your couch. That works too. Trust me, I've done it. When my mom was stuck in the house, I would tell her just walk around walk from the front door to the back door, to the front door to the back door. And it's all about getting your body moving, right? If that's your goal. So taking breaks can be so important. I know when you're in a hurry to get stuff done and you feel like your to-do list is super long at work, it can be tempting to eat your lunch at your desk. But I want to encourage you to not do that because if we're seeking work-life balance, we need to find some separation between work and life. And that can happen in the middle of the day. It can happen during your lunch break, and that's okay. You need it. Your brain needs to reset. Your brain needs nutrients to function properly so that you can get your work done. So it's important for you to take a lunch break. When I take my lunch break here at home, I do not sit at my desk and eat. I try to get up and go sit on the couch and eat my lunch. I put on Grey's Anatomy reruns and I sit on the couch and eat my lunch. Or I'll even sit at my bar by myself in the kitchen and eat my lunch. The important thing is to have some separation so that you don't get burned out. Because if it's all work, all work, all work for 8, 9, 10 hours a day, 5 days a week for the rest of your working career, that is a lot, guys. It is so important to take breaks because then if you don't, you run the risk of suffering from burnout. And that is a whole nother thing that we can talk about. But so time blocking, breaks, and my final tip for how to achieve work balance during the day is to set boundaries around work. So this kind of goes hand in hand with time blocking, but I have set boundaries around my work. So I told you I work at a nonprofit. I have a photography business and the coaching business. I'm a life coach and this podcast. So, and I'm in grad school. So it's a lot, guys. It's a lot. But so I have very strict boundaries around my time. So my alarm goes off at 7:30 in the morning. From 7:30 to 8:30, I create all of the reels and social media posts and LinkedIn posts and all that stuff. I create it during that first hour of my day. I either post it right away or I set it to post later using the various methods on all the different social media channels on how to schedule a post. And then I get up and I take a shower. and I get ready for the day, right? I listen to my audiobook while I take a shower. I do my hair, do my makeup. I get up, get ready every day, even though I work from home. People make fun of me, but I do. But I get up, get ready, and then I go get my coffee and or my tea. I prefer hot tea. And then I sit down to work. So my work day for the nonprofit runs from about 9:30 to about 5:30, and I take a 30-minute lunch in there. Occasionally, I will take an hour lunch depending on what I have going on, if I have personal appointments, whatever. But I have those parameters. Before 9:30 is my time to work on my personal businesses. 9:30 to 5:30 is for the nonprofit. After that, I take an hour break for dinner with my family. If I need to go for a run, I take an hour break for that. If I need to run any errands, I do those. And then from about 8 to 9 every night is time for homework, editing photos, any last minute podcast edits that I need to do. And then from 9 to 10, I hang out with my husband. And usually that's us just hanging out on the couch watching TV because that's what we like to do. We like to watch our shows. But I have very strict parameters around my time because my time is valuable. And so that is how I achieve work-life balance. I make time for me. I put it in my schedule. I put it in my plan. I make sure that I plan my runs. I make sure that I plan time with my family. If it's a super heavy homework week, then I set one entire day aside to do my homework. So that way I get to spend the other days with my family, the other evenings with my family. If I have a really heavy photography editing week, I will set aside one day out of the weekend to just sit and edit photos, and I will knock them all out. That way I can spend my evenings with my family and my friends and taking care of myself. So setting boundaries around your time is super important, and that applies to work. That way you can boundary off your work time away from your family time, because that is how you achieve work-life balance. And so I want to leave you with some ways that you can overcome overcome roadblocks that might keep you from experiencing work-life balance. And I think the biggest boundary to work-life balance is often other people, bosses, family, doctor's appointments, supervisors, whatever. Oftentimes it can be hard to say no to certain things. If your boss comes in and asks you to take on a project at the last minute, if they haven't given you distinct goals for your project or deadlines, and so you are just kind of floating out there trying to make it all happen yourself on your own timeline, that can be really hard. And so when it comes to other people threatening your work-life balance, you have to get comfortable saying no. I know that's hard, but you do. You have to get comfortable saying no. I like to tell people that if it steals your peace, if it takes you away from the things that you love, and it is not life or death, then it should be a no. You have got to protect your peace. You've got to protect the sanctity of your self-care and your family time. Those things are so important, guys, so important. So being able to say no, being able to speak up for yourself when you need someone to set goals, parameters, expectations for you so that you can maintain your work-life balance. It is so important for you to be able to speak up for yourself in that way. Another barrier to work-life balance is the need to perform or to, I heard it as the fear of disappointing others. FODO, FODO, the fear of disappointing others. I had never heard that before, but oftentimes the fear of disappointing people, disappointing bosses, disappointing coworkers, not getting that award, not getting that gold star at work, like those can keep us from maintaining our healthy boundaries and achieving work-life balance. So this can be a hard one. It can be a really hard one, especially for us people pleasers, man. It can be so hard. But I want to remind you that it is okay to not have every gold star. It is okay to not win every award. Because if the cost of that gold star, the cost of that award is your sanity, your self-care, and time with the people that you love and doing things that you love, it is not worth it. It is not worth it. So now I want to talk about the importance of work-life balance because as y'all know, I am super passionate about substance use disorders. I want to help people not fall into that rabbit hole. And one of the biggest side effects of unbalanced work-life balance is substance use. So I know I was guilty of it for years. I would come home, crack open a bottle of wine, and decompress with my glass of wine. And then before I knew it, it wasn't a glass of wine. It was a vodka water. And then it was just vodka on the rocks. Someone said the other day, who drinks vodka on the rocks? I did. Yeah, I did. But having an unbalanced work-life balance can lead to substance use disorders. When we feel overwhelmed, when we feel on the verge of burnout, when we feel like there is no light at the end of the tunnel, it can be very easy to turn to drugs and alcohol as a way to decompress. And that is not great, guys. It can be such a slippery slope. And before you know it, you're where I was, drinking a bottle of wine a night and going to work hungover, coming home exhausted, opening another bottle of wine, going to work hungover, and this cycle just repeats itself over and over. And my goal is to help you achieve a work-life balance without a hangover. So I'm hoping that the tips that I shared will help you achieve work-life balance through making small changes at work. But at home, small changes that you can do and things that you can do to overcome the roadblocks that could potentially get in your way are setting yourself up for success. So when you get home, the first thing you probably want to do is crawl into your PJs, crawl onto the couch, and not move for the rest of the day. And while that does feel good, right? It is nice to crawl on the couch and get in your PJs and not move for the rest of the day. It doesn't give you a well-diverse, non-work life, which is what we were talking about at the beginning. We want to make sure that you have diverse hobbies, diverse experiences, diverse interests, because that is going to give you resources that you wouldn't otherwise have. So yes, sitting on the couch is amazing. We love Netflix and chill. We love a whole Sunday of doing nothing but binge watching movies. But there has to be more to life than that. Am I right? Am I the only one that thinks that? I might be the only one that thinks that. But in all seriousness, like if you don't create a plan for how to have a well-diverse social personal life, then you're just going to keep living on the couch, not doing anything, not having any hobbies, not experiencing things. And I don't want that for you. I want you to have a well-rounded personal life. That way, those resources can carry over into your work life too. So, setting yourself up for success means prepping. So what I do is I know that I don't want to go for a run, but I need to. So I set my running stuff out before the workday starts. I get my water bottle ready. I pull out the electrolytes and have them sitting on the counter. I make sure that my greens that I mix with my electrolytes are close by and easily accessible. I make sure my water bottle is clean. I make sure that I got my running belt out of the car and it's in the house, because I will very easily use it as an excuse to not go running. Oh, I don't feel like going to the car. It's not that far, guys. It's literally in my garage, but I will use it as an excuse to not go running. Setting yourself up for success might look like setting a plan with some friends to go pickleball or to go play tennis. Maybe it looks like putting your tennis racket in your car. That way, and your clothes in your car. That way, after work, all you have to do is change and go to the tennis courts. Maybe it looks like having a friend commit to a cooking class with you. That way you can keep each other accountable. Maybe it looks like knowing what is on your way home and planning to go to those places on the way home so that it's not an inconvenience. Because if it's inconvenient, we're not going to do it, right? Like our brain chooses the path of least resistance. And if there isn't a pickleball place on the way home, you're probably not going to go. Just being honest. So trying to pre-plan that way can also help you not go home and sit on the couch and grab a bottle of wine and watch Netflix until you pass out on the couch. We want to have a good, healthy work-life balance, finding things that interest you. If you're like, I'm too old for hobbies, there's nothing I want to do. I was never good at sports. I never got into music. I never got into the arts. Like, there's nothing out there for me. Then start trying random things. Go for a walk in your neighborhood. Go drive to downtown and just walk around. Park your car, walk around. Hop on Google and search for fun things for 40-year-olds to do in my city. And just get curious. Get curious. The more we keep our minds active, the better our brain health will be for longer. So I always tell my mom, I'm like, you can't sit on that sofa all day and watch Netflix. You need to be doing things. So she's recently started doing puzzles, and I'm so, so glad, because we need to keep our minds and our bodies moving and active and keep using them, because if you don't use it, you lose it. And having a healthy work-life balance in your 20s, 30s, 40s will help you have a balanced life in retirement. I don't know how many times I've heard people say, because I work with retirees or people who are about to transition into retirement, and I will hear them say, I just don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have so much time on my hands and I don't know what I'm going to do. And the reason is because they didn't have a healthy work-life balance in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. So now life has been their entire, work has been their entire life. So they don't have a life outside of work. And friends, I don't want that to be you. I want you to retire into life, not retire from work and have no life. I want nothing more than for us millennials to be the most active elderly group out there. That would be amazing, right? Like if we were retirees who were hiking and sailing and boating and building nonprofits and doing mission work and doing this and doing that, that would be so cool. But it has to start now. And if you're in your 20s, start now. Please don't be a 30-year-old that is having a midlife crisis and trying to switch careers because you are suffering from burnout. Start diversifying your work-life balance. Start diversifying your life. Gain those resources. Yes, achievement at work is great because it spills over and it drives you to be more successful in your personal life, but actually use that and be successful in your personal life. Build those relationships, have those hobbies. That way you are excelling in both. And if you are happy in both, if you are doing well in both, if you are experiencing things in both, then you are able to have a true work-life balance. I hope there were some little nuggets in this episode that would help you achieve a work-life balance. Comment below, leave me a review. There's a text us link below. There's a support us link below. All those things, guys. I'm so thankful that you are here. We miss Rosie, but I will still be here and hopefully you enjoy hearing my silly voice. So until next time, guys, be well, be kind, and may you find some joy this week. Bye.